the fall of the Roman Republic. This is absolutely fascinating stuff. I did as one of our book reports a week or two ago, Mortal Republic by Edward J. Watts. The subtitle is How Rome Fell into Tyranny. And basically, you know, it boils down to this. These two, quote, populists, Tiberius Gracchus and his younger brother Gaius, who, you know, in the later years of the Roman Empire were the emperors. And their big contribution to Roman history is that they privatized the Roman military. Now, by the late 2nd century BC, by that time, the army had essentially been privatized. Now, prior to this, in the early days of the Republic, soldiers thought of their participation in military service as a civic duty, writes Yashe Monk in the book review over in the New York Times today, which is how soldiers think of service to America right now, unless they happen to work for Blackwater. So once the army was privatized, what happened was, and I quote from the review, commanders knew that the plunder of new lands could garner them vast riches. Soldiers signed up for the ride in the hope of gaining, you know, generously. With soldiers increasingly loyal to their commanders and commanders doing whatever it took to maximize the prospect of private profit, the Senate, in other words, the government of Rome, was no longer in charge. Thus, the Roman Empire collapsed. It was privatization. Now, meanwhile, we learned this also from the New York Times, this from back in November, in the final months of the Obama, hang on just a second, this is the wrong story. The other thing that we learned is that well, where did that go? Okay, well, the bottom line here is that the Trump administration, here it is. The VA was taken advantage of by paying billions in fees, Secretary says. It's called the Veterans Choice Program. And, you know, to cut Trump a little slack, this was actually rolled out during the Obama administration, another brilliant neoliberal idea. Let's privatize the VA. But the two companies who were hired to run the program, they have taken 24% of all the cash, $2 billion in fees. One of the two big companies, well, I don't know if it's worse, but TriWest Healthcare Alliance, despite a criminal investigation of the company for wire fraud and misused government funds, is handling billions of dollars of your tax money. Senator John Tester of Montana says if it costs more to be in the private sector, if administration costs are higher, benefits are going to be cut. Yeah. So here we see how privatization of the military took down the Roman Empire. And Trump is now aggressively privatizing our Veterans Administration. And in fact, it's gone on steroids since the Obama administration handed this program off to them. Meanwhile, they're not cracking down on corporate crime. In fact, au contraire, in the final months of the Obama administration, Walmart was under pressure from federal officials to pay nearly $1 billion and accept a guilty plea for a bribery investigation. Barclays owed $7 billion. Royal Bank of Scotland was in a criminal investigation. After President Trump took office, they looked to his administration for a more sympathetic ear and got one, writes Ben Protest in the New York Times. Across the corporate landscape, the Trump administration has presided over a sharp decline in financial penalties against banks and big companies accused of malfeasance. They are, as they say, giving away the store. 62% drop in penalties imposed, 62% drop in illicit profits ordered returned, 72% decline in corporate penalties from criminal prosecutions. And while the SEC ordered banks to pay $1.7 billion during the Obama period, that's 4 times as much as during the same 2 years in the Trump era. Trump only brought 17 cases against the banksters. Obama brought 71. The headline, Trump administration spares corporate wrongdoers billions in penalties.